Hey guys, sorry, sitting there for a while, not saying very much. Is that my jumper? Optimism, optimist. We so need some optimism these days, and like on a continuous basis. No matter what happens, it's so important just to remain optimistic. Quick shout out to everyone closest to where I am right now, which is in Brisbane, but for the wider world and the wider community, just really thinking of you all as lockdown happens. Again, another snap lockdown, but I am one of these people that says, hey, just rip the band-aid, get it over and done with. But yes, all the best, and thinking of you guys. Okay, so just to let you know, there is series 1. Now, series 1 for the Trauma Network is not available on my YouTube channel. I do apologize about that. I will export it to YouTube. So, yeah, this is kind of like going to be live streamed anyway onto YouTube. So I suppose it's just going to be one of those things where, yeah, you'll watch this one maybe first and then get to the second one. But quick introduction, Kayla S here. Coming to you from Chinchilla in Queensland, and coming in to speak a little more about trauma, because I just know, I think many of us know how plaguing trauma can be. And the last series 1, so I haven't been on here for a little while, only because I have had so much happening, a wealth of stuff happening, and then I woke up with a bit of a headache this morning because I was doing Dry July last month and decided to go and have a beautiful barbecue with some really good close friends. And yeah, so that's kind of like this morning I was like, oh my gosh, really, I don't even want to be here today. My head was traumatized from the alcohol, anyway, so look, here's the deal. I'm just going to show up as I am, as I have been. You will often find that when I'm talking about something that is more to do with healing or a very sensitive topic, my tone will definitely be more soft and that sort of stuff. When I'm trying to be more empowering, so when I'm trying to let you know that, hey, like, you can get through this, whatever you are going through, you can push through, you can, one eyebrow, and I know that it's normal, but it's just so freaking annoying. See, here's the OCD perfectionist side of me. Okay, stop it. Like you can push through this, and you can get through this, and you get to get through this. Everyone has got something to say when it comes to whatever. Even if you hear about mothers in a room speaking about childbirth, and you should do this, and you should follow this process, and no, this works, and no. Guys, first things first, please remember that we are all individuals, which means that something different is going to work for every individual. Okay, all right. It doesn't matter what we are all different. We all look different. We all make different choices. We all may have different feelings. And so how you deal with trauma is definitely something that is yours and yours alone. And this is why we are here, is to basically say, well, hey, like, you don't have to be one certain particular way, and you don't have to get through an experience and a bad experience in this amount of time, and then that's it. No more bad days for you. Get on with it. That's not what we are here to do. So, look, thank you for being here today. Thanks for checking it out. And it's freaking amazing. So I was thinking that, I was sort of like going to talk about the different types of trauma. And I know that I covered some of that last week. And then I was thinking, maybe for this one, I'm going to cover the different types of grief. Okay. I'm not going to do this I'm not going to do that because it means that then I'm going to have to be getting into symptomology for you guys. And I don't want to get into symptomology for the fact of I don't want anyone on here that perhaps has not been to and someone more qualified in expertise and it's sort of like treating this like Google, all right, because we know that we've all made that mistake at one time or another until we became more aware of how freaking wrong Google can be. So I don't want anyone on here that is going to be diagnosing themselves or writing down the symptomology that I'm going to be talking about and going, yep, I had that, yep, I had that, yep, I had that, because you may not necessarily have that type of grief trauma or that type of trauma in itself. What I did want to speak to you today is how we are maneuvering through trauma. How we are maneuvering through trauma, because I can tell you right now that last week, last week was a hard week for me. Okay. The thing is, though, is that I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to hide that and go, oh no, this is what I am. I'm a coach in trauma, and I never have a bad day. It's just really freaking stupid, isn't it? I'm really trying to control my language, guys. So just bear with me if the shit or bitch word comes out. But as for the other ones, I'm definitely trying to veer away from those because, yeah, just me. It's what I think. And then whatever your opinion of that is, your opinion. I understand that Aussies are Aussies. I understand that it is what it is. But that's my opinion. That's where I'm at. So there we go. I'm not going to be getting into discussion on swearing on a place like this. Okay. So yeah, it was a really, really shit week for me last week. And I think there is one thing that is very important, and that is, one, to take leadership of your own life. It's not always easy to do. And secondly, know your people. And no one is perfect, and everyone's got their stuff. Each and every single one of us has our stuff. But I think that if we are coming from a really genuine place and we really are, exhibiting and giving and just accepting everyone for where they're at. Okay. I have been there. I've been through that thing where you are so hurt and you are so torn down that you want people to see you in a certain fashion. Now, what that is self-validation. And I'm still going through this process of uncovering or spotting, oh my gosh, okay, that's you again, looking for self-validation, right? Why am I looking for self-validation in this context or in this scenario? It's so important, guys. My signal has dropped a little bit here, so it's picking up again. I was going to say, so if we drop out a little bit or it lags, I do really, really apologize. Self-validation is something that we tend to really seek because, and I know other coaches have spoken about this, all right? So I'm not going to do one of these things where it's like I'm going through each person's name. I'm saying that, obviously some coaches have spoken about this. This is also in different psychological readings, etc. So look, by me saying that, basically I'm referencing your work, okay? Yeah, so very, very important thing to do. From a very, very young age, we have been molded to live as to someone's expectation of us, okay? Because the generation before us was that way, and the generation before that was that way, blah, blah, was that way. And so basically this is what we're doing. We're just basically following a pattern of preordained societal structures, expectations, morals, whatever, that are held by one person to another person to another person. Why did this come about? Well, basically to maintain order. Okay. There has to be an order to a system in order for the system to remain in a surviving mechanism or a surviving place. Okay. If everyone just went about and did their own thing, chances are we would have a lot more strife going on around us. So at the end of the day, we have nature versus nurture. Some of you guys might have heard about this in psychological context. So this is basically like where, you can apply it also to the humanistic part of a person. So what we're saying basically is that how you were brought up, the environment that you were brought up in will determine, very much will determine how you may perform as an adult. Okay. And then how much nurture you're given in that environment is also really going to impact on how you nurture yourself and how you nurture other people. Right? Now, to say that we suffer from trauma, we can't specifically just put everyone into one box and say, okay, yep, you suffer from trauma, which tells me that as a child, you had a really, really screwed up childhood. Not necessarily. There are a lot of people that have quite good childhoods, come from what we see as normal. I don't believe in normal, but I'm going to put it as normal so that you guys can sort of, adjust in your head and go, okay, yep, that's normal. What's normal to me? Normal to everyone is different as well. But, per se normal. And later on, they've had a really, really big bang to that psyche system. And it's really sort of put them out of whack for a very, very long time. And as we discussed in series 1, you go through a stage just like a physical ailment where it is necessary for you to absolutely seek help. Otherwise, what happens is that physical ailment, anything can happen. You can get blood poisoning. The wound will never, ever, ever heal properly. Chances of you breaking, we spoke about a break last time, pretty sure it was break to the leg. And I'm always choosing the leg because I've had the most leg injuries in my life. So, to me, it's just natural. So it's very, very important that these things are looked into and these things are given attention, because if you don't do that, then all that's going to happen is it's basically like a layer of build up. And firstly, we become more hard-hearted to the world. Okay. Now, I mean, you do get, every individual is different as well. But I think that when you don't actually allow yourself to be soft, and it's one of these things where we are obeying and going towards that preordained societal structure of get over it, princess, move on with whatever, it's in your head. What happens is you're basically bearing that, or you're not allowing yourself to go through the process of healing whatever it is that has been broken in here, or physical, whatever it may be. Okay. So it's very, very important that we have expression. It's very, very important that we have expression. And in order to have expression, it is necessary, getting back to number 1, taking that leadership of yourself in saying, hey, this is the choice that I have. I have a choice right now to go out and to seek this help, or I have a choice right now to sit with this. And I can promise you, you beautiful soul that's watching this, I can promise you that if you are going to be that person that is going to, sit there and go, no, it's fine, I'm going to get over this, I'm going to do this, I respect your choice. I respect your choice. But there is an easier way. There is an easier way. And the fact that you're watching this video tells me that you're applying the easier way. Okay. So getting back to the different ways that we look at people in psychology, we also have the humanistic point of view. What you need to remember is that everyone is inherently good. Everyone wants the best for themselves and for other people. Okay. And that is why it is necessary for us to maintain that work of order, because what would happen if we didn't have any order in the system and one person, everyone's going crazy? what happens then is survival kicks in. And once survival kicks in, you actually don't quite necessarily keep that good intention morale there with you. And so this is also what can happen within the psyche when we're really traumatized or when we really go through something, and then it's just expected that we're just going to get through it, not talk about it, and just keep moving, is that we often grow up and we apply the same threshold or the same expectations to the next generation, because now we're going, well, if I could get through it, you can get through it, and I don't care, and blah blah blah. And it's this thing of instilling a toughness. And I get it. I understand that it is necessary to be tough in this world. I understand that it is necessary to be resilient in this world, right? But you don't just go through a traumatic experience, wake up the next day and be like, yep, you just made me resilient, let's go. I can promise you that there are people who are trained to be at the highest peak of resilience, strength, mind control. And these guys still fall. These guys still break. Okay, no, we're not going to be getting too much into that, but so human nature is human nature. And every time that you go on a rant of denial of human nature, you are stripping someone of their power. Every time that you allow yourself, as someone who has been through a hard time, to not maintain some essence of expression, you are stripping yourself of your personal power. I understand that it is very, very difficult and challenging at the best of times to speak up when something bad has happened. Badness comes at different levels as well, okay? And another thing to realize is that what I may see as traumatic, you may not see as traumatic. Because everyone has a different level of susceptibility, to put it into words that are easy to get across. Everyone has a different level of susceptibility as to what has happened to them, how they deal with it, and how it manifests. That is why we are all different. That's why we all respond to things very differently. A very, very long time ago, I had very much that way of thinking until I actually started to tap into, and until I had a very, very bad experience that changed my outlook on how I see things. I used to be someone who used to be extremely judgmental, extremely judgmental. I'd never do that. Oh my God, I don't believe in that. Oh, and it's funny how your perspective will change according to your experiences. So bear that in mind as well, is that everyone's experiences are different. Therefore, the more opinionated individuals who you may not necessarily agree with, or who you may not necessarily, want to be invading your space because it doesn't make you feel good. But at the end of the day, it's also necessary to understand that every individual is going to treat life and have a viewpoint of life as to what they have experienced. Okay. So how are we maneuvering, taking those little things into consideration and being open to yourself, your emotions, being open to other people and their emotions? This is where we really start to unpack and really start to delve deeper into a way of understanding others. And that's why I am here. That's why I am on a mission with beautiful, like-minded people that we want to see, we will see suicide rates cut. Suicide rates need to fall. And the way that we do this is by unpacking and getting people here to speak up and speak out, getting people to look and to feel and to go, oh, hey, I see you're going through that as well. Or how did you get through that? That is what I am here to deliver, 110%. That is what you can expect from me. Okay. That's what you will see from me. I don't know if expect is quite the correct word, but hey. So how are you maneuvering through trauma? How do you maneuver through trauma, through fear, through grief? I will say to you that I do not believe that, as I've said before, there is this step by step process. Yes, absolutely. There are different things that are going to happen, and a lot of them are very, very common on a population scale. Okay, so we have quite a few people that have been through in the population of the world similar things in a process of grief, of trauma, and so this is where we've come up with the 5-step process. That is definitely something that happens. Now, are those processes most definitively going to be in sync for you? No, they are not. No, they're not. All right. It's a very, very long process as well. What I encourage you to do is to firstly write in a diary. Okay, please write in a diary every night. Document how you're feeling, what you felt today, how that made you feel. Even if we are at a point where we are reaching a level of enhancement and healing, it is still very, very necessary to be putting your feelings somewhere. I know that there is a huge stigma when it comes to speaking out about something. I know that there is a huge stigma when it comes to allowing others to see where we are. And I also know that there is a huge stigma as to how much we vent about loss, or how much we vent about that bad experience that we had, or how many bad days we have in a year. Please remember that we have a choice as to how we are conducting our experiences and living through those experiences. There is a softness that is needed in our world. There is a softness that is needed in our world. Because the hardness that we teach and the hardness that we expect, it is destroying humankind. And I'm even getting emotional saying this because I know it is. I know it is. And so when we actually reach out and when we actually encourage a speaking, when we encourage ourselves to be who we are, and we go, you know what, screw your damn expectation of me. Screw your damn opinion of me. That is when we start to build resilience. Because strength is in numbers. And actually, someone said that to me the other day. Someone said to me, you want to know something? You are the strength in numbers type of person. Why am I a strength in numbers type of person? Because I have done a lot on my own. I understand what misunderstanding is like. I understand what being shamed is like. I understand what being pushed aside is like. I understand grief, hurt, pain, loss. Ooh, I understand. And through that grief, that pain, that loss, those things, we have a choice where we can allow it to eat at us and allow it to turn us into rabid, or we can maintain a softness. And I promise the only way that we maintain a softness is by watching things like this, by watching others' stories, by sharing. By sharing. We can literally start a new process for our children and our grandchildren if we put our self-righteousness and our pride aside and we actually start having the hard conversations. I think it would be quite surprising if we had to analyze the data in the world and see how many people, families, get together and eat at a table and have never actually spoken about a really bad experience because of shame, because of judgment, because we feel they're not going to understand, because of fear. How's that for a thought? And that, to me, is sad. And that, to me, needs to change. But it starts with us and it starts with you. And if it's challenging to talk about, then write it down, journal it. I think journaling is something to maintain at any level of anywhere in your life, even if you don't necessarily, suffer from, a mental health issue. For me, I actually look at mental health as misunderstanding issues of humankind. Because we can't see it, it doesn't exist. Misunderstanding of humankind. Misunderstanding of thoughts and feelings. We are so selfish. Let's be honest. We are such a selfish humanity, many of us. And it starts with a simple conversation of how are you today? So often I see people acting in places of kindness through an agenda, because they want to accomplish something at the end of that. Let's seek and give genuine kindness in a moment. And genuine kindness has no expectation. If I'm nice to you, I don't expect you to, I don't know, do this my way or be this person, or just be nice. Nice doesn't cost anything for anybody. So journaling. The second thing is what I just mentioned, and that is the act of giving. The act of giving. Giving is a very, very powerful thing. Because when we give, we start to move away from ourselves. We start to move away from ourselves. It can be an act of giving someone a phone call, an act of checking up on someone, an act of giving of your experience, an act of sharing of your experience. There is courage in fear, and there is fear in courage. Oh, but both only add to power and to growth and to conquer. So that's the second thing, is the art of giving. You don't have to have much to give, okay, to share in a conversation or a dialogue, to ask how someone's day is, to have that cup of tea, all of those things. The third thing I would really, really like to also say is know your people. And on me, this one is a really, really hard one. I know. Once you actually start to know your people, it can be a very, very lonely and challenging, but at the same time, a really empowering movement, because now you're seeing how much beauty you have, how much worth you have, where you are. So know your people, and If you are around people that are bringing you down, or that, push you out, or that don't get you, I'm not saying hate is not here. Hate is not in this conversation. Blame is not in this conversation. Everyone is where they are because that's where they decide to be. We have a choice. That's the thing. We have a choice. And if you are trying to reach out, or if you are trying to work on your self-development, and someone else is making the choice to basically trip you up on that self-development and not clap for you and not be happy for you and not encourage you and not give you that love, and that, then you have a choice. You have a choice to go, okay, well, that's where you are, and I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to force you to be another way. And when you're ready, I'll be here. But I'm not going to force you to be that way. And I have to do what's right and what's best for me. And what's best for me, you may not agree with. And hey, maybe later, maybe you will be right. But either way, I have to go with me now. I have to make the call and the judgment for me now. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry if that, causes anything for you. But I deserve happiness, and I deserve fullness, and I deserve love, and I deserve gratitude, and I deserved, because you are deserving. We are all deserving. So please know your people. Okay. And also something that's very, very sad, I think. The other thing is, look, we all want to be in a place of trust, but truth be known, we don't always get to have that in this world. So by knowing your people, you also really do need to know who you are trusting. And look, this is a very, very safe space. You can reach out to me. Okay. You will find my website on my Facebook page. And my website, if you want to grab a pen and paper, and you can rewatch this obviously, is www.thetraumanetworkingsite.com.au. And from YouTube, you can basically contact me there, and we can go through some stuff together. Or you can reach out and join my Facebook page. Or alternatively, you can just chill out and watch me over here, wherever you're watching me from. But trust is a very, very important issue. And I say that because trust can be very, very detrimental to healing and moving through trauma. I have been in states of my life where I have been rock bottom, and I have entrusted individuals with stuff that I'm going through. And those same individuals, when things got tough, would use that stuff to break me down, and would use that stuff to get to me, and would use that stuff. Look, guys, there are categories to anger, and there are categories to being annoyed with someone, and there are categories. But please tread very, very carefully and very, very lightly when you are dealing with someone. And in any category, I don't think that is tolerable. Now, I think at one stage or twice or whatever in our lives, we've all done wrong things, and we've all been mean, we've all been angry, we've all been, but in supporting one another, it's really, if you see and if you identify something like this going on, it is up to you to pull that person up. It is up to you to go back to step one and take leadership. I don't agree with what you were doing. It's up to you to bring it together, and everyone's opinion is going to be different. Everyone's feelings are going to be different. But I think that once we sit in silence, or once we give something an allowance, we are saying that it's okay. Please remember that. I know that things can be very tension orientated in certain scenarios. And I know that often people of trauma will snap back, will be angry, will hate the world. Okay. Please remember, guys, that if you are someone who's suffering from trauma and you're here, but you would like your family to watch some of these videos, please feel free to share them, because it could provide some sort of, paving or lighting the way for a better understanding of where you may be. Okay. But there is a leadership that is definitely necessary in every, support system that you may have. And it is also very necessary. And this is why it's necessary for the self-expression, because that will start to minimize the amount of anger and resentment that you may have for the world. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to be talking to someone else. I highly recommend it. But as a beginning step, just journal. Start journaling. And then a week later, go through your journal, read it back to yourself, see yourself from a reader's point of view or from an onlooker's point of view. It can be very insightful. Fourth, last but not least, I do have to go very shortly, but fourth on maneuvering through trauma today is get out and about. A choice starts with you. A decision starts with you. And to get out in nature, to walk barefoot in sand, on grass, to hug a tree. I promise you, I'll go and hug a tree. I will go and hug a damn tree, and in front of people too. You can think I've lost my marbles. But you feel freaking amazing after you do it. Nature in itself is healing. It's beautiful. Water. Listen to water. Okay. Now, if you're in a shutdown and you can't get out, please, you can utilize things like a running bath or a running shower. Feel. What we are aiming to do is to feel things. Okay. A hot cup of tea. We want to try and veer away. Look, even for me, myself, I'm now on all decaf. Nothing. I have no caffeine wherever I can help it, because caffeine definitely does increase anxiety levels. And for those, trauma or the misunderstanding of our experiences, we definitely don't want caffeine in our diets. All it does is just exacerbates anxiety. It makes you feel, it can make you have really sweaty palms, get really nervy. Yeah. So, but a hot cup of something warm that nourishes your soul. And get out if you can. Please get out for walks and or exercise in the house. I do it very often. I have weights here. I do go to the gym very often as well, or just walking. I can also walk out in the yard at the moment, but with lockdown, you never know what might happen. What I'm trying to say is have alternatives for yourself, have backup plans so that you are not sitting in four walls. Because what we want to try and encourage for trauma and in healing is to get out. People who are traumatized are going to revert into their shells and into their four walls. It's natural. It's a survival mechanism, because the world out there is not always the nicest place to be. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, I cannot encourage it. So get out. If you have animals, please spend time with animals. Animals are very healing. I have 2 dogs, 3 cats. I love them to pieces. And they are my little knights in shining armors. My day is never a dull day because of these pooches. Okay. I was going to, and one more thing, sleep. Please listen to your body. If you need to sleep, sleep. Okay. If you need to get out, get out. But always maintain a pattern with your sleeping, because exhaustion is not good for the mind frame. I can tell you right now that on Saturday night, I think I got 4 hours sleep. And last night I was up at 3 a.m. Okay, at 3 a.m. because my mind, I'm my mind races. I'm someone who thinks a lot. I'm someone who is very intuitively perceptive. I'm someone who's very detailed, which is probably why I'm doing the degrees that I'm doing. But look, to switch off your mind, it can be a huge challenge. And the mistake that I made both nights was that instead of me saying to myself, because it does work, no, just stay in bed, shut your eyes, put some music, some meditative, beautiful sounds into your ears with your headphones, or just play it next to you. And just you relax. Deep breaths, 10 deep breaths. I so believe in deep breaths because they are absolutely amazing. But instead of me doing that, it was kind of like, straight away, I got onto my phone and I felt really irritable. And so all that I was doing was feeding a non-sleep night. And we don't want to do that. It can be not good for you. Okay. So that's it for me for now. If you have any questions, if you would like to reach out, if you would like to speak to me about anything, please do. I am absolutely here for that. Thank you so much, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day whenever you are. Please stay safe. And if there is anything specific that you would like to talk to me about, please do reach out to me. In the next couple of episodes, we will just carry on going through trauma and stuff like that, where we can get someone on to speak. We're going to do that too. But for now, the absolute aim of the game is to start expression and to start finding the people that are willing to listen and to start that conversation. Once we start that conversation, we're entering brand new territory. All right. Love you all. You can do anything. And stay safe. Love yourself. Bye from me, Kayla S. Thanks for joining Out of the Fog, the Trauma Network.